And welcome to what is the final regular season edition of Upon Further Review. My name is John Henrietto. I am the sports editor of the Butler Eagle, flanked on my left by sports writer Mike Kilroy, and on my right by sports writer Derek Pida. And we are, as always, sponsored by Conlon Tarker, Troy Allen Chevrolet Buick GMC, the Butler Health Systems, and help me with our fourth sponsor because I just forgot it.
Penn United Technology.
Penn United Technology, thank you. And gentlemen, this is, it's hard to believe we're down to the final regular season week. And Mike, we'll start with you.
You're having fun.
Yeah, I know. Let's look, before we look at last week's scores and review what we liked and didn't like about week 8, Derek, how did Scoop do and how did we do?
We didn't do
How did we do here?
Oh, you went 9-2.
I went 9-2.
Mike went 8-3.
That's
That's not bad.
And Scoop went 8-3.
And
I went 7-4.
7-4.
So I am now tied with Scoop for the basement. 69-25.
You're tied with the bird.
Where's the sand so I can stick my head in it? It's been a bad year.
It's been a rough year for picking games because these teams, every time we think we have them pegged, they throw us a curveball, to mix metaphors there. But yeah, it's been a crazy year.
John, you're in first place with a 71-23 record.
Okay.
Mike's second with a 70-24 record, and Scoop and I are both 69-25.
Oh, it's still a
fight,
though. It's still a fight going on here. Yeah,
it's a pillow fight.
Yeah,
it's a pillow fight.
It's a pillow fight. It is a pillow fight.
It's a down pillow fight.
Well, Mike, we'll start with you. Looking back on week 8, what did you like and didn't like about last week's action?
What I liked was MONITEAU pulling out a little bit of a wrinkle with Nick Martino running the Wildcat for that game. He could have probably broken the school record for rushing yards if he didn't. I guess he turned his ankle.
Yeah.
He had 200 plus yards rushing at one point before he got hurt.
Stayed in the game though, but he just didn't.
Yeah, he just didn't have the same.
Just didn't run the ball
anymore. He wasn't healthy. Even in a loss, I thought Slippery Rock, a lot of good things for them against Oil City. They gave up 3 big long plays that hurt them, but Oil City really only had one sustained drive. And Oil City's a 5A school, Slippery Rock's a 3A school. Oil City's offensive line, very tough, very physical, and I thought Slippery Rock matched them actually pretty well. Even Coach Winters said this is the first time they played a physical team that they came close to matching or matched the physicality of that team. So that bodes well. They have a bye. They're going to get some guys healthy. Mm-hmm. They're going to play Harbor Creek for the 3rd straight year. So that's going to be interesting to see how they come out fighting after the bye and after, you never like to lose, but it was a positive loss for Slippery Rock. And Union AC Valley, every time they win, it seems like they give up 7 points, and they did it again, 28-7. They're finding different ways to win too. They didn't. Culberson didn't have a very good game, but they found some other guys to get some rushing yards.
They did.
And Bowser has been Bowser all year. He's been great. So those 3 things really stuck out at me. Stuck out for me. That I won't talk about Mars. I'm pretty sure you guys will.
Yeah. The Falcon Knights seem to have developed a committee of running backs. They seem to have a few different guys getting carries. Derek, week 8. What are your thoughts here, looking back?
Well, I'm going to talk what Mike didn't want to talk about. That's Mars. I mean, 2 weeks ago they scored 28 points, so it was a good offensive performance, but they gave up 30 and lost to Fox Chapel, so it was their defense that didn't play well. This past week they only give up 10, but they only score 7. So they're coming off a bad defensive performance 2 weeks ago, a bad offensive performance this past week. This time of the year is not a good time to be searching for answers. And Mars, after that win over North Hills a few weeks ago, I thought the path was cleared for them. It was paved for them to get 2nd place in that conference. They haven't even clinched a playoff spot yet. They could still theoretically miss the playoffs.
Yeah. You know what? And they actually got Teddy Ruffner last week by an opposing Teddy Ruffner. Yeah. That running back for Kiski, 36 carries, 188 or something. 46 carries for 188. Yeah. So they just warmed down. And again, that's usually what Mars does with Teddy Ruffner. But other than the Mars game, anything else about last week you want to?
Well, I was the only one of us that picked Union AC Valley to lose, and obviously they didn't just win, but they beat Red Bank by 21 points. So that was a good surprise. And Mount Pleasant beating Freeport. I'm not surprised that Mount Pleasant won. although I did pick Freeport, but I mean they beat them by 28 points.
Yeah.
Now I think I mentioned on this show, I do admit when I'm wrong, not often, but I do admit when I'm wrong. I think I mentioned on the show last week that Mount Pleasant and Freeport were both knocked out of the playoff race. That is not true. Mount Pleasant actually still has a chance. So it was a game between a team that had just lost playoff hope in Freeport against a team that's still going for the playoffs in Mount Pleasant. So I think that played a big factor in that 35-7 score.
Well, if you admitted when you were wrong all the time, you'd be talking quite a bit. So we can't have that.
Ouch.
So, but anyway,
Ouch.
what I look at last week's games, and I mentioned that Union AC Valley's not the fact they beat Red Mike and I. We both picked them to win, but I don't think either one of us expected them to win by 3 touchdowns.
No, I thought it would be a much closer game. I think I predicted
a
much closer game. So it wasn't like we predicted a 28-7 win. I just had a feeling they would go up there and play well, and they did. But I didn't think they would by 21. And from everything I've heard, that game really was never really in doubt because AC Valley just dominated pretty much that game.
I want to bring up a couple of local teams. Even though both teams lost these games, I was impressed with the way they performed. Seneca Valley losing to Pine Ridge 35-21. They competed though, and it was a nice competitive game for a Raider team that's been struggling a little bit.
The game was 21-14 for a while.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And Butler losing to Hempfield. Final was 55-28. Looks like a blowout loss, but honestly, for the better part of half that game. More than half the game, it was a tight game. It was a 7-point game at one point in the third quarter, and Senior United Butler and guys like Zach Slommers scored a touchdown for them. The backup quarterback, the backup QB scored a touchdown through a touchdown pass. So nice night for the seniors, and I thought a real cool thing that Nate Cornaby, the Butler offensive lineman, did. He wore number 71 for his last home game instead of number 78 because his dad wore 71 for 4 years at Butler. Kind of a silent tribute to his father, which was kind of a cool thing.
Very cool.
I like that. Let's move on then to our first of two topics that I've come up with here. You mentioned Slippery Rock, Mike. They have a bye this week. They don't play. They get Harbor Creek. Undefeated Harbor Creek, I think, in 2 weeks from now. Well, next week actually. And I know even though every team in that bracket has a bye, I know there's 8 teams in it, right? 8 teams in that bracket. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. You're going into the playoffs. Would you rather have a 2-week break between playing, or would you rather maintain a weekly slate of games all the way through to the playoffs? Derek, we'll start with you on this one. Would you prefer to break routine for the extra rest, or would you rather stay on routine going into the playoffs?
For me, I would welcome a bye if you're in the boat that Slippery Rock's in. They're entering the playoffs on a 2-game losing streak. That bye is going to give them a chance to work on some things, maybe get some things down before their playoff game against Harbor Creek. But let's say that Slippery Rock was entering the playoffs with a 5-4 record, but they got off to a slow start and they're on, say, a 4-game winning streak.
Okay.
I want to keep that ball rolling. Right. Now, as you said, every team in this bracket gets. It's not like the coaches. It's not like Slippery Rock got a bye because they played really well this year. Every team in this bracket got a bye. But if my team's playing really well, I'd rather keep it going. But in Slippery Rock's case, I think Larry Wonderhughes welcomes this bye because they are coming off 2 straight losses.
Mike, what do you?
I agree almost 100% with Derek. In this situation, the bye is going to be of great help for Slippery Rock. Because they do have a number of guys they can play, but they're banged up. They're really banged up. Vita Pelosi is a little banged up, as you would expect for a guy who's such a big part of their offense. They have some other guys that are banged up. I know they're going to give these guys a little bit of a rest. Then they're going to come back and focus on Harbor Creek. Plus, this has been their formula for the last 3+ years.
Yeah, you're right.
They get into the playoffs, they get a bye, then they go into that first round game. Either it's Mercyhurst Prep, like it was 3 years ago, or the last 2 years Harbor Creek, and it's worked for them because the last 3 years they've gone into that 6-1, 5-4. 6-1 being the Region 6 champion. They're the 4th seed from the 4th place team from Region 5, and they've gone in and won that game. So, but just for pure routine goes, they've been there, done that. They know this formula works for them. So in that case, for Slippery Rock, this is a very, very, very valuable bye week. Normally, though, I would want to keep going, keep the momentum going, especially if I'm winning. But again, like Derek said, they're coming off a 2-game losing streak, even though they played well against Oil City. I think this bye is perfect for Slippery Rock.
Right. Yeah, I would agree with you guys in Slippery Rock's case, but I think generally speaking, I think assuming my team's fairly healthy, I want to keep on playing because number one, you get a bye and you get a rest. The other team gets a rest also, and while you have 2 weeks to prepare for the other team, they have 2 weeks to prepare for you also. So to me, there's no advantage or disadvantage there. But I just think high school football, a lot of it's routine, and I know if you ask the kids would rather play. I mean, kids.
I don't know. Those guys were pretty excited for Slippery Rock.
Really? Well,
yeah, they didn't.
We're looking at one team there. Yeah, well, that's a good point, I guess.
Yeah.
But
and they're not going to have to get those bumps and bruises, bumped and bruised again. So they're pretty. I think you right now, this part of the season, I think more coaches than not would say, yeah, we need this bye because this bye is going to recharge us for that second season, so to speak. I think it's a pretty welcome off week for everybody.
Well, switching topics here. Look at the Butler Varsity football program. As you guys know, they've had another rough year, 2 in a row now. They've been victims of the mercy rule pretty much every game this season, close to it anyway. Has the time come? I know this is a difficult question, but I think it's an issue that maybe that school and that football program needs to address right now. And Michael, we'll start with you on this one. Has the time come for Butler to take a break from WPIAL competition and go to an independent schedule, similar to what Albert Gallatin and the Carnsville area has done in the last couple of years,
I think
with some success, I might add.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on this?
Absolutely. This is the right move. If they choose to take this move, it's the right move for various reasons. We've been talking all year about their numbers. They didn't have a lot to start with. Then the injuries piled up. They're playing basically with 24 guys in 6A against Central Catholic, Pine Ridge, NA. You're not going to be able to do much against those teams with a healthy 50, 60-man roster, let alone having 24 healthy guys. So from that aspect, taking a couple of years off and playing those teams, playing independent schedule, maybe get some wins, get some more interest, get your numbers up, then maybe get your program to a point where, okay, now we can go back to this section. Maybe we can be competitive. Maybe we can win a few games. Maybe we can stay in games against NA and Pine Richland and Central Catholic and not have this game be a rout in the 2 minutes into the second quarter. Is it a tough decision to make? Because you can look at it in a way where you're waving a little bit of a white flag, like we can't compete at this level, so we're going to drop down. But I think to save this program and to get it back on track and get it back, get it going, they might need to do the Albert Gallatin Connersville thing. And they have 2 teams already on their schedule they could play: Albert Gallatin and Connersville, who are independent, right? Connersville?
Connersville's not independent.
No, Connersville's not.
But did they do it? He mentioned Connersville.
He said they're from the
Albert
area.
from the Connersville area, yeah.
Okay, I thought I misunderstood you. I thought you said Connersville also did it, but they have a natural opponent in Albert Gallatin right there. Earlier in the season, in this show, we talked about maybe Butler should play. Maybe we should do classifications based on roster size. This is basically what I was talking about. Playing an independent schedule is basically like dropping down a few classes and playing maybe more teams that have a similar roster size than you. I think this would be a great move. Whether they do it or not, I'm not sure, but they have to consider it. I think they have to consider it.
Derek, does the Butler stick it out in WPIAL, or should they go the route of the independent?
Well, what they end up doing is obviously out of our hands. We're just giving it.
Of course, right? Yes.
I think that it would be different if Butler had a JV team this year, and they had some really good players there, and they were 500, maybe a game or two over 5. And you could look at that and say, hey, these guys that are succeeding at the JV level are moving up. They're going to be playing varsity next year. They don't have a JV team this year.
They have a large freshman class.
They do. But I think the fact that they don't have a JV program, so those players that are freshmen now, chances are they're going to be playing varsity next year. They're going to have to make that jump right from freshman to varsity. And you look at Albert Gallatin. I grew up in that area down there. I remember reading about Albert Gallatin. I couldn't tell you the last time Albert Gallatin had a winning record. A good season for them was like 3 wins.
Yeah.
And after 7 games this year, Albert Gallatin's sitting at 5-2. They're succeeding. Now, How are those wins going to affect the number of kids coming out down there? How many more kids are going to come out for football next year? I don't know, but I know there's a lot of pride involved in Butler's football program, and that extends to alumni. You obviously played for the Golden Tornado in years past, but man, when you're going up against North Allegheny, Pine Richland, Central Catholic, Mount Lebanon, Seneca, I think this might be the move that helps you get a little bit more traction in that program, even if it means 2 or 3 years without the hopes of making the playoffs, because obviously if you're playing an independent schedule, the playoffs don't exist.
Yeah, I got to admit, I know I came up with this topic, but I'm really torn on this topic. I truly am. For the big reason being, well, but for 2 reasons. One, I agree with you guys. Butler's biggest issue right now is that they need to get numbers. I mean, and they need to do whatever they have to do to generate interest in that football program, get more kids who are in high school now to come out for football. And so from that end, I can see the independent schedule, get rid of the Pine Richlands, the Central Catholics, the NAs, get them off your schedule. But on the other hand, I see this sophomore class, which I feel for these kids that you're right, Derek, they should be playing JV this year, but because of the lack of numbers, they have to play varsity. They've got a pretty talented sophomore group that's staying a big secret because they have to play varsity this year. They also have a pretty good freshman group coming up next year. I hate to see them drop for a couple years. Cooper Baxter would finish out his high school career as an independent schedule. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That could hurt him a little bit. He's just one example.
Yeah, but the development of these kids is going to be stunted if they continue to play in this section.
I agree.
Why not let these freshmen who are going to be sophomores next year, sophomores who are going to be juniors next year, maybe let's play one independent year. Maybe.
I think because of the cycle,
you have to play two.
I think you have to play two.
Well, still,
no, I'm not positive of that, but I think you do.
Still, you have to protect these kids too. I mean, you can't keep throwing them. That's why they're getting hurt so much. They're not ready for this level.
There's no question about that.
They're not ready for this level. So
plus they're on the field so much too because they don't numbers.
I mean, they're playing both ways. Yeah. A lot of these kids.
Plus special teams in some cases.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You have to protect these kids too. That's the thing. Yeah. Because you're going to stunt their growth. You're going to get them hurt. They're not going to develop properly.
Again,
I guess playing the schedule.
Again, we don't know that this is coming. This is just a possibility that we're just talking about. I suppose it is possible, but we have no information that says Butler's going independent next year. I don't want to paint that image. It's just a subject we're talking about here.
I would say that I would put the percentage of them actually going independent at less than 10%.
Yeah, it's a bold move. There's no question about that. Once you decide to take that step, it's a bold move for sure. Well, let's switch gears and our weekly over-under categories. These are getting more and more challenging as the weeks go on. But I've come up with a couple here that I think have some interest to our viewership here.
You can do over-under number of hours of sleep on there.
But whatever it is, I'm going under on it. But anyway, no matter what number you throw out, I'm going under. But okay, my first over-under for you guys. Union AC Valley, they have a tough one with Ridgeway, and I'm not asking you guys to pick the games right now. We'll get into that a little bit later here. But Ridgeway's only got one loss. AC Valley Union ACV's only got 2 losses. It looks like a pretty good matchup. Now, Derek, we'll start with you on this one. I list Union AC Valley's total offensive yardage against Ridgeway this Friday at 199.5. Do you go over or under that total?
Union AC Valley played one other AA team this year, Keystone, and they lost to them. I believe the score was 44-14.
They lost badly, yeah.
And Keystone's good. Ridgeway is the defending AA champion in District 9. They're the only team, Ridgeway, to beat Clarion this year. They also beat a really good Brookville team. This is not indicative of how good I think Union AC Valley is at the single A level. I'm just recognizing the fact that they're playing a really good AA team. I don't think they're going to get held scoreless or anything like that, but I do think they'll get under 200 yards of offense. So I'm going under there.
Okay, Mike, what say you on this?
I'm going to have to go under too, because I saw Ridgeway, and Ridgeway's defense is pretty good. And it's going to be hard for AC Valley to move the ball, I think, consistently. Like Derek said, I think they're going to score. I think they'll have a few plays, but I see them going under, not by a whole lot. I see them getting maybe 175, 180 yards. I think they will generate some offense, but man, Ridgeway's a tough matchup for any team, let alone a single A team.
Yeah, I think to go over, they're going to have to either pass or run for 100 yards. I mean, chances are to go one. Yeah, and against Ridgeway, I have to agree with you guys. I don't see that happening. I agree with you though, Mike. I don't think they're going to be way under.
No, they're not going to be way
under.
under.
I think they'll get some first down. If the score does get out of hand, then frankly, we'll make our picks later. I don't think the score will get out of hand. But if it does, they could get some yards late that way too. But I'm still going slightly under. So all three of us agree on under on 199.5. The other over-under, Knock and Freeport. Kind of the Pride Bowl here. Two teams. Knock, I guess, has a mathematical chance of making the playoffs, but they would need Newcastle to lose to Ambridge. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah. But so
it's a pretty tall order there.
Yeah, so this is probably their last game. Freeport got eliminated last week or 2 weeks ago actually with their loss. So. Mike, we'll start with you on this one. Total points over under for this game, I have listed at 35.5 without predicting a winner because we'll do that later. Over under 35.5.
I'm excited about this game. I get this game.
Yes, you get
the rivalry game. I'm going to go under because I think this is going to be a defensive struggle. I really do. Knox defense is really has played really well this year. Freeport's defense is pretty good too. Goodland's out for Knock.
Yep. Yes.
So, but I know Cam Grassi and those guys, they threw the ball a little bit effectively last week. But,
Keith Washington's not a bad back either.
Yeah, Keith Washington's not a bad back, but I still see this under.
Okay.
So I'm going under, slightly under. It's going to be a slobber knocker.
A slobber knocker. Derek, what do you think? Over under 35.5. Knock and Freeport. That's Freeport.
As you mentioned, the Knock. They're clinging to playoff hopes, but I got to believe those players are preparing for this game, thinking there's obviously a really good shot this is their last game. If it is, obviously they want to go out with a good performance. Same with Freeport, who's already been knocked out of the playoffs. Garrett Schaffhauser, man, this is a kid he's so talented, both passing and rushing, and here he's going to miss the playoffs. We're not going to be able to see how he can do against playoff competition. I think both offenses are going to play well in this game. Knock has the triple option. I know it's minus Matt Goodland, but I think they're going to be able to move the ball against Freeport. And Freeport, they only scored 7 points last week against Mount Pleasant. They want to finish the year strong. So I'll reserve my pick for a few minutes from now. But I do think both teams are going to have a good offensive performance. So I'm going over.
You're going over. I think it's going to be real tight. That's why I put this number at what it is. But I think it's going to be slightly under. I agree with my guys. I think the defenses are going to control. This is really going to be a pride game. There's going to be some heavy hitting going on. Both of these teams are going to be laying the lumber, and both of these teams have people that can lay the lumber. So yeah, I'm going under, but only slightly. But I'm going under 35.5. But we'll start right out here. Butler's last shot at getting victory. The 0-9 Golden Tornado heading to Kenny McMillan. The Big Macs 2-7. Clinched the playoff spot last week though in losing fashion. They lost their game, but things broke their ways, so they're in.
2-7 going to the playoffs.
Yep. So they don't need
the WPIAL.
So they don't need to win this game to make the playoffs. They're already in. So Mike, we'll start with you. Butler at Kennebec. Does Butler get off the winless night in their last game?
Unfortunately, no. But they do play well against Kennebec. They do play well against the playoff team. Going into the playoffs, Kennebec.
I will say this, this may or may not influence you, but Kennebec's quarterback is out. He broke his leg a couple weeks ago.
John
Quinkway, yeah. He's done. They're playing a freshman right now, and they've gone to primarily a running type of offense.
I still think Kennebec's going to win this game. It's going to be a good game, tight game. I say 35. I'll go 28-14 Kennebec.
28-14. Derek, what are your thoughts? The quarterback info here.
Yeah, you mentioned Kennebec in the playoffs. They're locked into that 6th seed. They can't move up,
right.
But they are in for the second straight year. I do think this game is going to be very close. As you mentioned, Cannon McMillan's playing a freshman at quarterback, so I think their offense, isn't going to move the ball as fluidly as they would have with that Jonathan Quinkway at quarterback. But I think numbers have played a role in Butler's lack of numbers have played a role in their season this year, and I think it comes back to bite them this week. A close game, but I'd like the Big Macs to win at home 24-17.
Okay, I like Kennebec also, but it's not going to be a Mercerville type of game. They are working in a sophomore who may or may not. I talked to Kennebec coach earlier today. They are giving a sophomore a former quarterback in their system. He had been a quarterback since junior high. Now he's a sophomore in high school. He may or may not start on Friday night. The coach hasn't determined that yet. But I think Kennebec has enough on offense. They're going to score 4 touchdowns on a tired Butler team, especially in the second half. And like you guys say, the numbers will catch up to Butler again. I pick Kennebec 28-7. The Big Macs have a pretty strong defense too. Let's look at NORWIN. The NORWIN Knights 2-7. They come to Seneca Valley. Derek, the Raiders only at 3-6. Kind of a rough go for them. They, of course, they're going to the playoffs as well. What are your thoughts on NORWIN Seneca?
Seneca Valley, as you said, they've qualified for the playoffs. They are locked into the 5 seed. They can't get any worse or better. NORWIN does have Jack Salopek.
They certainly do. Yeah.
And one thing that Seneca Valley, one of the things that they've struggled against this year is giving up big pass plays. They might give up a couple in this game, but I know the record. You look at the record, Seneca Valley's 3-6, and that obviously doesn't look good. If they lose this game, they enter the playoffs on a 3-game losing streak. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe the Raiders are going to let that happen. I think they pick up a win prior to the playoffs. I like Seneca Valley to win this game at home, 33-13.
Mike?
Yeah,
Seneca. What do you
Seneca's going to go into the playoffs on a little bit of a high note here, a good note. They're going to take care of business here at home against Norwin. I think they have to. They have to build some momentum going to the playoffs. So I think they do it. I see Seneca Valley winning 29-14. Let's stick with my 14s.
Yeah, I don't really like Norwin's defense all that much, to be honest, but I do like their offense. Derek, you mentioned their quarterback, Jack Salopek. He's the real deal. He's I believe he's going to Central Michigan. I think he's going to be a MAC boy in college. I think Norwin will trade punches for a while with Seneca, but not enough. I pick Seneca Valley 35-27.
I do want to mention one more thing regarding Seneca Valley. I have not talked to Coach Butchley yet. I will later tonight. Ethan West left last week's game with it didn't look good, a leg injury. So we've all talked on the panel this year about how much that kid means to their offense. So if he's out, that's going to affect them not just this week, but moving forward into the playoffs. But I still like Seneca Valley to win, even if he's out. But yeah, Ethan West could be a big loss for them.
Okay. The Knock Knights clinging to faint playoff hopes. They are 6-3. It'd be a shame if they do miss the playoffs. They've had a solid season, certainly.
You got Kennebec 2-7 or 2 whatever.
Yeah, and they're going. Yeah,
they're going, and then you got Knock with 7 wins.
That's high school football. But anyway, you got Knock 6-3. They're going to Freeport 3-5. We touched on this game moments ago. Mike, your thoughts on this battle of local rivals kind of playing for pride a little bit?
Well, like I said, it's going to be under 35.5. It's going to be a tight defensive battle. I see Knock winning 18-17.
Ooh, slobber knocker?
I can see call that. You can call that.
All right, you can call that slobber knocker.
Yeah, it's going to be a slobber knocker.
Right. Derek Knock at Freeport. What do you think?
Freeport has the balanced offense in this matchup. Obviously, running the triple option, Knock is their offense is predicated heavily on the run. Freeport's able to throw and run. I think that's going to be the difference in this game, and I like Freeport to win 27-21.
Ooh. I'm going with the Knock Knights, but I think it's going to be under that 35.5 earlier that we talked about. But as I said, barely under. I'm picking Knock to win this game 21-13. Whatever. The Mars Planets, they're struggling all of a sudden. The last 2 in a row, they're 5-4. As you mentioned, as Derek mentioned earlier, they have not clinched the playoff spot yet. Chance to do so going down against a 2-7 Hampton team that's lost 6 straight. Derek, what are your thoughts on Mars at Hampton? Another late season local rivalry game.
Yeah, we talked earlier about how quickly things can change for Morris. How about Hampton? At one point this season, they were 2-0 in the conference. Conference wins over Armstrong and Shaler. They haven't won since.
Nope.
So this game's at Hampton, but here's another team that I just can't see. Mars, I know we talked about last week. What are the chances of Mars losing 2 straight? Well, they did.
They did it. Yeah.
I like Mars is playing a struggling Hampton team this week. They find a way to get it done. Teddy Ruffner gets back on track. I like Mars to win this game 24-7.
Mike, what do you think? Mars at Hampton.
What are the chances of Mars losing 3 straight going into the
I know. Especially losing to a 2-7 team.
They're not going to lose 3 straight. They're not going to lose to a 2-7 team. They're not going to lose to Hampton. That's kind of a rivalry game for Mars. They like beating Hampton just as much as they like winning going into the playoffs. So they're going to do both with the.
Of course, you have to like beating Mars too.
Yeah, but they're not going to this year. Mars' defense, even in their losses, their defense has played fairly well.
Yep.
So I see them playing well again. I see Mars winning 20. I'm going to say 22-6. Mars wins.
Different kind of score.
Yeah, maybe a little different score.
I think the Planets roll as well. I agree with you, Derek. I think Teddy Ruffner gets back on track. He was held 76 yards, no touchdowns last week. Stunningly enough. That'll change this week. I'm picking the Planets 28-10. We move on to Deer Lakes, 3-6 Deer Lakes. They play North Catholic, 7-1. The game is at Mars High School Friday night. Derek, we'll start with you on this one. North Catholic's been kind of, as Mike's pointed out many times, kind of up and down in terms of types of games, types of final scores. What are your thoughts on Deer Lakes and the Trojans?
Yeah, the way that the game has flowed has gone up and down for them, but they're still undefeated in conference. Mm-hmm. Their one loss is out of conference to Central Valley earlier this year. So they have a chance in this game to wrap up an undefeated conference title if they can take care of the Lancers, and I think they do that. I think North Catholic's going to win this game going away 40-16.
Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, we've talked all year about how up and down North Catholic is. One week they score a bunch, next week they don't. Yep. One thing that has been consistent is they've been winning. They win low-scoring games, they win high-scoring games. They put up 40 points and win, they put up 15 points and win.
They seem to do what they need to do.
They do what they need to do to win, which is a mark of a good team. And good teams don't lose at home as far as they're concerned, going into the playoffs against a team like Deer Lakes. North Catholic's going to win 37-12.
And North Catholic has Zach Rocco, who threw for 3 touchdowns and ran for 3 touchdowns in last week's game. He may do that again this week. I also picked North Catholic to win going away 42-14. Moving on here, Titusville coming to Titusville Rockets. They played Slip Rock earlier this year. Now they're back down in our local area. They're taking on Karns City. Titusville 3-6. They've gone away Hampton. They've lost 6 straight games, and they're coming to Karns City 6-3. Mike, we'll start with you on this one. Who do you like here?
I've seen Titusville over the years, so they play Slip Rock a lot. The Titusville's had some really dog up teams. This year, like you said, they started out well and they're losing, but they're not a bad team. But Karns City is a very good team, and it's at home. Titusville is going to run into a buzzsaw, I think. I think Karns City is going to win this one 41-18.
Derek, what do you think? Titusville at Karns City.
Not only is Titusville 3-6 on a 6-game losing streak, as you mentioned, their 3 wins this year are against bad teams, and that was back in late August, early September.
And one was in overtime. One of their wins.
Thank you. Yeah. I just think Karns City's running game, which involves so many kids, including Kamensky. Anthony Kamensky, he's such a big part of that running game. I think that's going to be too much for the Rockets of Titusville to handle. I like Karns City to win this one big, 42-7 at Deal Stadium. Yeah,
Kamensky closing in on 5 yards rushing here. He's getting close there. I agree. I think Karns City wins this game big. Titusville in the last 3 weeks, they've scored all of 6 points. They've been shut out the last 2 games by Fairview and Girard, and that Harbor Creek team that's will be playing Slip Rock. Harbor Creek beat them 3 weeks ago, 41-6. So Slip Rock needs to be wary of that team for sure. But I'm picking Karns City 34-6. I forget to tell you that earlier. Maybe I didn't. I don't know.
Well, you did now, so that's all counts.
Senior members, it kind of goes after a while. MONITEAU at Keystone. The MONITEAU Warriors 3-6 on the year. Mike, they're taking on a Keystone team that's 8-1 and has been rolling up points in recent weeks. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what MONITEAU does. Hopefully, Nick Martino's ankle is healed up this week, because they found something there. With
they definitely did.
Wildcat. Yeah. I know they weren't playing the best opponent, but it sounds like it was really humming along. But I don't know if their defense can contain Keystone for a whole game. So I'm going to say Keystone's going to win this one. I think it's going to be a fairly high-scoring game. I see Keystone winning this one 32-27.
Derek, MONITEAU and Keystone. You're talking about a Keystone team that scored 44, 52, 44, and 57 in the last 4 weeks.
What's your point?
Well, just throwing information.
What are you trying to say?
I'm really intrigued by this Keystone team because they compete in the small division South, even though they're a AA team.
Yep.
There's already 10 teams in District 9 large. If they threw another team in there, that would make 11. It would screw the schedule up. So they took the smallest AA school in the district and put them in a small division. And here they are in a couple of weeks. They're going to be playing in the AA playoffs. They lost one game this year to Red Bank at the start of the season. Since then, they've won 8 straight. I think they just got too much firepower from MONITEAU, who, again, this year, it's not like they've got a big roster. They're dealing with smaller numbers, too. I like Keystone to win this game at home 39-14.
Actually, a very similar score to my own. I'm also picking Keystone to win big. I just don't think MONITEAU can score with them. I think they'll hold them down a little bit, but not enough. I have Keystone winning 38-13. We have Ridgeway against the mighty Falcon Knights. Ridgeway 8-1 on the year, having a fantastic season. Union AC Valley not so bad themselves at 7-2. Derek, we'll start with you on this game. I'm not going to say can because I know you don't like those questions. Will the Falcon Knights shock Ridgeway, the Elkers, on Friday night?
They could, but they won't.
Okay.
I like the Fighting Dittmans to put up a
Fighting Dittmans. Okay.
I think Ridgeway, as I said, they're the defending AA champion in the district. They're the only team to beat Clarion this year, and they did that 42-0.
Yep.
And they also beat a really good Brookville team. So it all adds up for a loss to Union AC for me. But again, this is not indicative of how I think Union AC can do in the single A playoffs. They're playing a really good AA team this week, and I think they fall 31-14. But they put up a fight, 31-14.
Okay. Mike, I'm going to say, will the Falcon Knights stun Ridgeway Friday?
Unfortunately, no. They're going to hang with them for a while, but I think Ridgeway's just going to wear them out in the long run. I think Union and AC Valley can hang with any team for about a half, no matter how good they are, because they're pretty good themselves. But I don't think they can hang with a team like Ridgeway for an entire game. So I see Ridgeway pulling away late for a 32-16 win.
I agree. I think Ridgeway wins, and I agree with you guys. I think Union AC Valley is not going to go quietly in this game, especially it's a home game for them. But I pick Ridgeway 27-14. And our final game to pick here is Summit Academy, 1-8 on the year. They're traveling to Mohawk, which is also 1-8 on the year. So, an intriguing matchup here. Mike, what do you think of Summit at Mohawk?
This is a tough one because
it is a tough one.
Obviously you mentioned the records. The records are similar. And Summit, give them credit, they've gotten better and better as the year's gone on and on. I'm going to say they've capped the year with a win. Summit's going to win this one. I think they win it 24-16.
Derek, pair of 1-8 teams going at it. What do you think?
Well, Mohawk is coming off their first win of the year against a winless Elwood City team. And they've scored Mohawk only 68 points all season.
Yeah, they're averaging about 7 a game. That's it.
Yeah,
less than that actually.
Yeah, I think I like Summit to end the season, as Mike said, with a win. The game's at Mohawk, which if you've ever been to Mohawk, it's literally about a football throw away from the Ohio
State line.
Yeah. But I like Summit to win this game, 24-14. Summit ends the year with 2 wins, and hey, when you're starting off from scratch, new coach this year,
Joe Merrick. Yep.
When you're starting off from scratch every year, and you can find a way to pick up 2 wins late in the season, I think that's a victory in itself, and I like Summit to win this one by 10, 24-14.
I agree with you guys. We're going to make a Summit sweep here. We're making a Summit sweep. I think it's going to be this would be a fun game to watch. Actually, I think Summit wins a real tight game. I'm picking Summit 24-18. That concludes our pick segment, and we always go into the and how about segment, which we talk about something other than high school football. And I'm kind of visiting here with a couple of subject matter, a couple of young golfers in the area. PAIGE Scott, a sophomore at Butler, she fell short of qualifying for the PIAs on Fortunately, she shot even par to finish in 7th place in the regional, but she just won the Hurricane Tour event over in Greensburg, which is a major achievement for her. And Slippery Rock's Jacob Wolak, only a freshman, he has qualified for the PAIGE tournament, only the 3rd golfer in Slippery Rock history to do so, and only the 2nd freshman. So, Mike, I want to start with you on this subject. These two kids, as young as they are, their skill, the combination of skill and dedication has already taken them a long way. What do you see for the future for these two kids in the world of golf?
The key, out of those 2 words, you just said the key is their dedication. Mm-hmm. They put a lot of time into their games. They put a lot of time into their craft. And that's the key. The work ethic that they both have is what's going to take them far. You know, skill can only get you so far. You have to be willing to put the work in, and have the dedication to put the work in, to attention to detail. Jacob Wolak, I think what was it, the putt? Let me get the order.
Oh, the
putt, drive, and chip.
Yes.
Competitions.
Yes.
He's done well in that.
He fell just short of reaching the Nationals.
Short of going to Augusta.
Yep.
And competing at a national level. And what's most impressive about him is one competition he'd win the putt, one competition he'd win the drive, one competition he'd win the chip. So obviously he's got a wide range of skills. Paige Scott, we've talked about her a lot. You know, she's one of the best up and coming. I'm going to say that she has arrived. Female golfers in Butler County. She's only a sophomore, so she's just scratching the surface. Jacob Wolak's just scratching the surface. I think both of these golfers can go as far as their dedication will take them, and it's going to take them pretty far because they're both very dedicated.
Yeah, and Paige Scott, you know, from freshman to sophomore year, and this was impressive. She dropped her average, her 9-0 average, from 39 to 37. That's pretty good stuff. That's pretty good stuff. 2 strokes doesn't sound like a lot. That's a lot for 9 holes.
Major drop.
Yes, it is. Derek, your thoughts on these 2 youngsters? And I call them youngsters because that's what they are. These kids are barely teenagers and already some major accomplishments.
Well, obviously they're physically talented. They have what it takes from a physical aspect to succeed in golf. And as Mike said, they play golf not just in competitions, but just, you know, in their free time. They're playing so much golf. If there is anything that needs to be tweaked with their technique, they're going to figure that out on the course. Golf is so much of golf is mental, though, and I think as long as these kids can stay mentally strong, you know, everybody's going to have a bad round here and there. A lot of it's going to come from their coaches. What are their coaches telling them about a bad round? I mean, how are they getting them back on an even keel? As long as they've got people who are positive, you know, talking in their ear, picking them up after a bad round, after a bad hole. That's the key. As long as they have that, because the physical's going to be there because they play golf all the time. If there is, as I said, if there is anything that needs to be tweaked in their game, they'll figure it out. They spend so much time on the course, it's just going to come down to the mental aspect, and a lot of that comes down to the adults that are right next to them.
Sure. Both of these kids, as you just mentioned, Derek, they practice almost every day. I know Paige Scott's got a junior membership at Butler Country Club. She's out there pretty much every day playing. Jacob Wolak, as a freshman, qualifying for the state tournament is hard as a senior to get there. To do it as a freshman that's an incredible achievement to me.
Very impressive.
And only the 3rd golfer ever out of Slippery Rock High School to get there. Both of these kids already, despite being a freshman and sophomore, have aspirations of D1 college scholarships. My guess is they're both going to land them eventually.
They're going to land them.
And Paige Scott, I just talked to her last night for a feature I'm working on, and she's already gotten D1 contacts, and it's only a sophomore.
Not surprising at all.
No, so congratulations to those 2 kids. We wish them nothing but the best moving forward in their still budding golf careers. That'll conclude this edition of Upon Further Review. We do encourage you to check out the Sunday Butler Eagle, the Get Into Game section, where we covered multiple games, numerous games, byline stories, large photographs, stat packages. Everything's there for you. You want to check that out. It is a feast, and you also want to check us out on Facebook, on Twitter. We tweet these games, so we'll be all over it Friday night, and you can recap the whole thing the following morning in your Sunday Butler Eagle.